But you're going to make it next time.
We have 84 people, and it's anyone's game. Who will take another step towards our 250K? We'll find out next time on the floor.
Next time,
Let's get it on.
Olympian battles.
Judo, bam, crowbar. I've never been more riveted.
This is absolutely insane.
As territories triple.
Oh, what a duel.
But will anyone challenge the champ for $20,000?
Are we gonna do this?
Go for it. Coming for you, buddy. It's gutsy.
Gordon Ramsay is back, and it's time to level up. Catch an all-new season of Next Level Chef tomorrow on Fox.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
One man is dead after a fire broke out in an East Millinocket home this morning. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones.
And I'm Devin Dagnall. Fire crews were on scene throughout the afternoon investigating the cause. Our Alex Schley has more.
Around 8:45 Wednesday morning, East Millinocket firefighters were dispatched to a home on High Street. Fire Chief Kevin McAdams says before crews arrived, a forest ranger jumped into action.
He was driving by, saw the smoke. He made an entry into the house, got a dog out, tried to alert anybody that was still in the house. It was driven out by the smoke. He was unable to enter too far into the house, but he did his best to try to alert somebody.
East Millinocket Fire arrived shortly after.
On arrival, flames coming out through the upstairs windows. Crews went in, did a quick knockdown.
McAdams says it appears the fire started in an upstairs bedroom where the sole victim was found. A neighbor told Fox 22 that a mother and son lived in the home, but the mother was not home at the time of the fire. East Millinocket Fire was assisted by multiple surrounding departments to battle the two-alarm blaze. As of this recording, the identity of the victim has not been released. Chief McAdams says in addition to a dog, one cat survived, but another did not. The Maine State Fire Marshal's office is investigating the cause of the fire. In East Millinocket, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Law enforcement officers from Maine and beyond gathered to honor the life and sacrifice of Maine State Police K-9 Preacher. On the evening of February 3rd, Preacher, a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois, was killed in the line of duty after an hours-long standoff in Portage Lake. Today, Preacher was memorialized with a service held by Maine State Police. Colonel William Ross of the Maine State Police applauded Preacher for his unwavering service and ultimate sacrifice.
Killed in the line of duty. A hero. That dog saved lives. That tactical team saved lives. The people in this room save lives. I hope people are listening. I hope people are listening. Now, I don't know to what extent, I'm a dog guy, but I'm not a canine handler. A dog feels emotion. I can tell you right now, Preacher, he knew that night he did good. He knew he did his job. And when he left us, I hope that's what was going through his head, that he's a good boy.
At the service, Colonel Ross announced the Maine State Police Canine of the Year Award will be renamed to honor Preacher. Preacher's handler and partner, Sergeant Jonathan Russell, spoke to Preacher's ability, stating he was a dog like no other that excelled in all aspects of his field.
Preacher, I want you to know that from the first hot August night I met you, I knew you were special. Your absolute desire to serve and satisfy a human companion and to become a part of a pack was so evident, nothing has ever been clearer in my life. I knew you were special from that first day. I met you and that you were capable of literally anything. The courage you displayed to me in a testing environment on the first night I set eyes on you gave me constant reassurance and complete confidence that you would be my protector until you had drawn your last breath.
And of course, our deepest condolences go out to Sergeant Russell and his family during what must be a very, very difficult time for them.
No, it's hard to say that kind of bond between a dog and their owner, and I can't even imagine what it's like in the line of service like that for that kind of relationship to happen and end the way it did.
Very intense training makes for a very intense bond.
Absolutely.
Not to mention the intense situations that they face.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well.
In other news, Kittery officials say the fire marshal's office is investigating a suspected carbon monoxide poisoning incident at a local daycare there. According to a post on Facebook, the Kittery Fire Department says at approximately 3:19 this afternoon, dispatch received a call of potential carbon monoxide in a local daycare known as Building Blocks, located on Route 236. There were 27 children and approximately 10 staff in the building at the time of the call. Crews responded and 7 patients have been transported to area hospitals for non-life-threatening injuries. The Post says there have been no deaths and no serious injuries identified at this time. The cause of the incident will be investigated by the state fire marshal, and they will provide further details as they become available.
A public hearing today focused on LD 187, an act to prohibit labor organizations from imposing mandatory service fees on non-members. If implemented, the bill would outlaw union security agreements between private sector workers and employers, meaning unions would not be able to charge non-members dues for representation. Opponents argue the bill will weaken unions, which would subsequently lower wages, benefits, and workplace standards for all workers. But the sponsor of the bill, Representative Josh Morris of Turner, says his goal with the bill is to give workers a choice.
I think I'm giving them the option to have a freedom of association. I think the option is that if an employee feels, again, that their union does not represent them, they should not be required to pay the dues.
Senator Angus King voted against Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to serve as the Director of National Intelligence. King released a statement which says, quote, "The Director of National Intelligence position boils down to judgment and management, and I find Congresswoman Gabbard lacking in both of these essential traits." He went on to say, quote, "While the Congresswoman has demonstrated sometimes justified skepticism towards the work of the American intelligence community, that skepticism appears to wane when it comes to our foes or those posing threats to America's national security. Consistently, she has taken actions that call into question her judgment in this regard." Congresswoman Gabbard was ultimately confirmed in a vote of 52 to 48. King says he may not have voted for her, but he will commit to working with her.
Well, Maine's Emergency Management Agency is warning the public about hazardous conditions ahead of the storm tomorrow. Public Information Officer Vanessa Sperry says no matter where you are in the state, you will be getting some kind of precipitation that will impact the morning commute. Sperry says you need to be prepared.
The big concern for this storm is travel. If you don't have to go anywhere Thursday, please don't. If you're in an industry or a business that does require travel, you really need to pay attention to road conditions, the weather forecast in your area and where you're going. And of course, you want your emergency car kit ready to go.
The Maine Emergency Management Agency says it's important to never warm up a vehicle inside an enclosed area like a garage to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. They say keep your gas tank half full to keep the gas lines from freezing up or running out of gas if you become stranded. They also suggest bringing a fully charged cell phone with emergency contacts. And if you do become stranded, stay with your vehicle and tie a colored cloth to the antenna to help alert emergency responders. So some important reminders there.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's go ahead and hit pause now and get a first check of that forecast.
Thank you very much, Beth. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and at our newest location, 485 Main Street in Orono. We have the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. And once again, temperatures well below freezing, 23 degrees here in town, 31 right at the coast. You are definitely nice and toasty compared to what it was well up north, Greenville, Millinocket. barely reaching 20s out there. Now, more clouds rolling in. That's associated with another low pressure system. Surprise, surprise. All of this will continue to make its way into our state and develop, bringing a lot of snow. Winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings in effect till midnight on Friday. Where you see the purple winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings are in effect up north. Of course, more snow will be back in the forecast. Overnight tonight, though, we'll continue to see more and more of those clouds. Snow showers rolling in late with temperatures continuing to rise. Beth?
Alrighty, Conrad, thank you.
Still to come on Fox 22 News at 10. New low-income housing is coming to the Bangor area.
And UMaine held their annual career fair, well-attended event there. We'll have those stories and more local news when we come back.
Winter's still hanging around, so it's the perfect time for Ford's all-wheel drive sales event. Take your pick from our award-winning lineup of SUVs, from the versatile Ford Escape to the exciting Ford Bronco family with GOAT modes to handle any surface, to explore America's all-time best-selling SUV. These models are in stock, but hurry in for the best selection. The Ford all-wheel drive sales event happening now at your New England Ford dealers. Now lease a Ford Bronco for $289 a month for 36 months, or lease a Bronco Sport for $259 a month for 36 months.
Work is more than just muscle. It's knowing what to flex. Move mountains. Wake your inner groundhog. Make roots cry uncle. Together, we're unstoppable. Together, we're united. United Ag and Turf, your local John Deere dealer.
Valentine's Day is almost here, and at Quality Jewelers, we're going to help you make it one to remember. Any purchase made between now and Valentine's Day is going to come with a card, chocolates, and a stuffed animal. Also, for a limited time, qualified buyers will receive a pair of VS Lab Diamond studs, an incredible value. Shop exquisite styles of fine jewelry right in downtown Bangor with us here at Quality Jewelers. Quality Jewelers, locally owned and operated, Penobscot Plaza, Bangor.
Save thousands on your new garage doors during the double rebate event at PDQ Door. Choose from several beautiful Clopay garage doors and get up to a $250 online rebate, and PDQ Door will instantly double it to save you $500. Buy 4 garage doors and get up to $1,000 in rebates, and PDQ Door will instantly double it to save you $2,000. Find a door you adore during our double rebate event for a limited time only.
This is next level.
Create a next level dish.
We're going to smoke those 2 floors above us.
All new season of Next Level Chef, February 13th on Fox.
On Good Morning Maine, we start each day with a fresh look at what's happening and what's to come.
All the information you need, fast and to the point.
All while having a little fun, too.
We want to set you up for your best day ahead.
And you get a great start to your day by watching Good Morning Maine.
Another abandoned boat runs aground, this one off a river in Aroostook. For weeks, neighbors called authorities to try to force the owner to remove the abandoned boat, but as Brad Rogers explains, in this case, the owner has no legal responsibility to remove it from the water.
The Saginaw County Sheriff says the owner of this fishing boat and his friends had been living on the hook, line, and sinker most of last summer and fall.
At some point, he just abandoned it, and it went adrift and wound up getting grounded over there on the beach in Aroostook.
Sergeant Matt Sharp says attempts were made to find an agency to remove the boat, but nothing came of it.
DEP's been involved, Marine Patrol, Coast Guard, CETO. I mean, we've had resources out there looking at it. Unfortunately, nobody wants to deal with it.
I think it's annoying. It's been known for a while. I think it's, a lot of passing between different agencies. I don't understand why the owner isn't responsible for cleaning it up.
The sheriff's office says, unfortunately, the boat's owner broke no laws.
Neither Woolwich or Aroostook have a harbor master, so there's no laws as pertaining to where they can anchor the boat.
He says without local laws, it's as if the boat's owner did nothing wrong.
Now it's floated from that side of the river over here, and now this town is responsible for cleaning it up.
Right now, the town of Aroostook is trying to figure out how to remove the vessel, which has a hole in its keel. A boat towing company told the select board chair it would cost around $25,000 to dispose of the boat. Harbor masters say derelict boats are a growing problem in coastal communities, costing as much as $3,000 to tow and scrap them. Sunken boats, like this large fishing vessel in Harpswell, are far more costly to remove from the sea. Authorities did find needles on board this boat.
We had the Coast Guard come and take a look at it. They took off as much of the contaminants that they could.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting. A new supportive housing residence is about to open up in Bangor. Teresa's Place has 41 studio apartments. It will offer safe, permanent housing and support services to those that are unhoused or those that are facing homelessness. The units are furnished, but Penquist needs some help from the public to provide basic household items like towels, shower curtains, and cleaning supplies.
It's some of those things that we take for granted, but if you've come from homelessness, it's those basic things that are really hard to get, and we want to help our new residents feel set up for success.
Well, you can drop off new or like new items at the Penquist Bangor office at 262 Harlow Street. Online donations can be made at penquist.org/donate. There will also be a housewarming at that.
Well, in other news, students put their networking skills to the test today as the University of Maine's annual career fair returned to the Orono campus. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
Hundreds of students busted out their resumes and piled into the New Balance Recreation Center in Orono, searching for employment opportunities.
Everybody's got a different story. Everybody's got something different to say. It's definitely interesting to go around and see what everybody's got to offer.
It's wonderful to see so many students that are really well prepared and show up with, with their resume and just the confidence to be able to talk about what they might want to do.
According to organizers, this is one of the largest career fairs in the state and features over 100 employers from around Maine and across the country.
We're thrilled that our students will take advantage of this, and we're more excited that we are able to provide them with opportunities after they graduate.
Students say the face-to-face interactions help eliminate some of the challenges of job searching online.
It's much better than looking at online job postings because online job postings just aren't as personable as seeing someone face-to-face and shaking their hand and really talking to see if you would be a good fit personality-wise.
Some employers stress the importance of encouraging students to find employment opportunities right here in Maine, as many different fields are facing workforce shortages.
A lot of people come in from out of state to go to college here at UMaine, and I think it's important to try and retain them.
Having that local support and having the mission within the state to be able to just help the people that I care about most in my community here and help build Maine and stick around is super important.
To learn about future job fairs, you can visit the Career Center's website. In Orono, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says to end the war in Ukraine, other European nations must get involved.
And another snowstorm slams the Midwest with heavy snow and freezing rain. We'll have those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Winter is a time to get outside and enjoy all that Maine has to offer. And when it's time to come inside, rest assured everything's toasty because of your Fujitsu heat pump from Valley Home Services. Push a button and you'll be snuggling up on the couch in no time. Valley Home Services offers reliable rebates, significant energy savings, and expert installation. And now save $500 off each indoor unit for all systems installed by April 1st. Embrace the comfort of Fujitsu heat pumps from Valley Home Services. Call or click today.
Don't get cold feet this winter. Stay warm and dry with high-performance footwear from Comfort Shoes and More. With an extensive selection of winter boots rated from 0 to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll find comfort in knowing your feet will be warm in any weather. Discover the latest in functional and fashionable footwear with grippers built right into the sole. With boots in stock up to 6E and size 17 for men and women. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
You come alive in the dead of winter and start work early on snow days because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to move, plow, blow, and thrive in the winter. So when the snow falls, you could rise to meet it. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 84 months, plus save up to $300.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
Come bowl a few games here at Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. We're one of the only Candlepin bowling alley centers in Maine, conveniently located in the heart of Brewer. You always have the opportunity to simply bowl for fun. However, you can also join a league. We have youth leagues, adult and senior leagues. Now don't forget, we also host birthday parties for under $100, and gift certificates are also available. Give us a call right away at 989-3798 to make reservations for your birthday party today.
Love is in the air, and ABC 7 and Fox 22 want you to share in the love with a special Valentine's Day promotion. Register to win prizes from some great local businesses. Our special Valentine's Day promotion is brought to you by Luxury Browse in Holden, Stonington's Furniture in Brewer, and SPS Music in Eddington. All you have to do is go to our contest page on foxbangor.com and register to win.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
Welcome back. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth made President Trump's message clear about the war in Ukraine. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson has the latest from Brussels.
Returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says any deal to end the war must involve the deployment of European soldiers with the following caveat.
They should be deployed as part of a non-NATO mission, and they should not be covered under Article 5.
Article 5 of the NATO Charter says an attack on one member triggers a military response from the alliance, a cornerstone of American foreign policy. So any foreign troops who deploy to Ukraine, even those in the alliance, would not have NATO protection if attacked. Today at NATO headquarters in Brussels, Hegseth had a previously unscheduled meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart and later ended any hopes for Ukraine to join the alliance face to face.
The United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement.
Lithuania's former top diplomat took to X to voice his displeasure. If this deal produces a piece of paper guaranteeing peace for our time, we should call it Munich II, a reference to the 1938 Munich Agreement, which appeased Hitler's expansion of Nazi Germany into Czechoslovakia, ultimately leading to the start of World War II. Hegseth also had a blunt message for NATO allies, following President Trump's call for the alliance to spend 5% of their gross domestic product on defense. The U.S. currently spends 3.4%.
The United States will no longer tolerate an imbalanced relationship which encourages dependency.
A message reinforced to German and British counterparts today.
We also hear your concerns. On stepping up for Ukraine, we are and we will. On stepping up for European security, we are and we will.
Defense Secretary Hegseth returns to NATO headquarters tomorrow, where he's likely to deliver more blunt messages and answer questions from the press. Traveling with the Defense Secretary in Brussels, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
The latest inflation numbers confirming what consumers have already been feeling in their wallets. But when will things get better? Fox's Kevin Oretsky has the details.
If you've been to the grocery store lately, you already know. Prices are going up and shoppers are feeling the pinch.
But I don't do impulse buys anymore. I can't afford to do impulse buys.
Wednesday's Consumer Price Index report coming in hotter than expected as inflation jumped up to 3% for the month of January, with prices rising 0.5% from just a month earlier. That's the largest month-to-month increase in over a year. Eggs are a major contributor to the rising cost of food. They're up more than 50% from a year ago. The price for a dozen now pushing $5.
Oh, everyone's paying more. We're paying significantly more than we were middle of last year or late last year.
The news sent the stock market tumbling Wednesday and cooled hopes of the Fed potentially cutting interest rates.
We do not need to be in a hurry to adjust our policy stance.
The period for this CPI report does not cover President Trump's first few weeks in office, something the White House was quick to point out.
We inherited stagflation from Joe Biden, and we're not going to whine about it. We're going to fix it, and we're fixing it already.
Though it comes after Trump pledged during his campaign to lower prices on day one. And with new tariffs on the way and the possibility of more still to come, there's a lot of uncertainty over what that will mean for consumers. Earlier this month, President Trump acknowledged there could be some, quote, short-term pain before a long-term payoff. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
The House Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency convening for its first meeting on Wednesday. Republicans backing up President Trump and Elon Musk's push to curb what they say is runaway government spending. Democrats say it's Trump and Musk who are out of control. Fox's Mike Emanuel with that story.
Sparks flying at the very first meeting of the newly formed House DOGE subcommittee tasked with congressional oversight of Elon Musk's new Department of Government Efficiency.
We as a country are $36 trillion in debt. In 2025, interest payments are projected to be $952 billion, which is more than our entire military budget.
President Trump and Musk say it's a necessary step to curb waste and fraud in government spending, but Democrats say Musk is acting recklessly and taking a hatchet to programs he doesn't fully understand.
If you are trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits.
The world's richest man turned special government employee has been tearing through more than a dozen federal agencies, moving to transform and dismantle a bureaucracy that he and President Trump say has gotten out of control.
It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people.
After his surprise Oval Office appearance before the media Tuesday, Democrats are calling on Musk to come to Capitol Hill to answer their questions.
Come and testify in front of the American people under oath, because we want to know what you're up to.
The hearing comes as Mr. Trump is giving Musk even more power, signing an executive order Tuesday directing federal agencies to involve DOGE in all of their hiring decisions. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Heavy snow and freezing rain slams the plains and Midwest, while the West Coast braces for severe thunderstorms that could bring flash flooding. Fox's Caroline Elliott has the story.
Some of the heaviest rains of the season expected in Southern California as a powerful winter storm moves in, threatening millions with flash flooding and landslides.
If you decide to stay in your property in an evacuated area, debris from the burn scar areas and storm may impede roads, and we may not be able to reach you.
With nearly 5 inches of rain predicted for some areas, authorities warned of possible evacuations for those living near the Palisades, Altadena, and Malibu fire zones. That's where officials worry about toxic runoff and debris flows.
I don't have any words for it with the winds and the fire and now the rain. I don't know. It's so devastating.
Flash flooding also a concern in parts of the South, where a wintry mix of snow and ice that fell Tuesday began melting due to rising temperatures. That storm dumped several inches of snow from Kentucky to Maryland. It also caused hundreds of traffic accidents, shut down schools, and knocked out power to tens of thousands in Virginia and North Carolina.
We're doing all right. The slush is pretty brutal.
Meanwhile, heavy snow continues slamming the Midwest. Icy conditions impacting millions from the plains to the Great Lakes, creating hazardous road conditions. The back-to-back storms leaving many with winter fatigue.
I know a lot of the kids are going to be enjoying it. I know mine will. So
this is not really inviting weather for walking or really doing anything outside.
Here in Wisconsin, more snow is expected later this week with wind chills that could fall below zero. In Madison, Wisconsin, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, our Doug Banks was in Belfast to highlight a community staple that is closing its doors for good.
And in sports, it's a border battle as the Black Bears prepare to host New Hampshire this weekend. We'll be right back.
Fox's Animal Control faces the fiercest beast yet.
Thank God you guys are here.
Rob Gronkowski, I love you. February 13th on Fox.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Time out for savings during the Washington's birthday sale at Down East Toyota. Our team is fired up and ready to assist.
Go Witches!
Score big on a Tacoma.
Go Skanks!
Break away with a great financing rate on a Tundra. Everyone wins with 2 years of no-cost maintenance. Steal all the details at downeasttoyota.com. It's okay to travel as long as you're in a Toyota. All roads lead to Down East for the Washington's birthday savings event.
It is tournament time, and Fox 22 is your home for tournament coverage. Watch Fox 22 News at 10 for all your highlights and interviews as our high school teams go for that gold ball. And get the latest high school bracket information at foxbangor.com.
Tournament brackets are brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares. And Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A Holden, great quality furniture and Bangor's largest in-stock mattress selection. Free statewide delivery.
Starting May 1st, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles will begin issuing the new Pine Tree license plate. If you have a Chickadee plate, it will be replaced when you renew after May 1st at no additional charge. If you have a Chickadee plate number you want to keep, you can reserve it today online by searching Reserve My Plate and paying a one-time $25 fee. With your help, we can provide prompt and quality service to all Mainers. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Secretary of State.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust. We get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Welcome back. Severe weather is threatening to derail recovery efforts in Southern California after last month's deadly wildfires. It's a process that is expected to be quite costly for not only those impacted, but every homeowner in the state after a request by the California Insurance Commissioner. Fox's Matt Finn has the story.
Southern California once again bracing for severe weather.
Oh, I'm helping this gentleman put sandbags in his car.
We're right below the hills. If they come down, I've been there, done that before, we need to be super careful.
With nearly 5 inches of rain predicted in some areas, the threat of flash flooding and landslides is growing. The risk is highest in the Palisades, Altadena, and Malibu fire zones, where almost no vegetation has been left after last month's devastating fires. Officials now warning the few residents with homes still standing to prepare for possible evacuations.
When you're given an evacuation order, heed the order and leave as soon as you can. Nothing that you have back home is worth your life.
The storm could derail phase 2 of debris removal in the area. Governor Newsom called the process the largest in California state history, and one he hopes will help jumpstart rebuilding efforts.
In a matter of weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, we hope folks are out there starting the construction phase.
But it won't be easy, and recovery is expected to be costly for everyone in the state. On Tuesday, California approved a request by the state's insurance commissioner for an additional $1 billion to help pay out fire claims under the FAIR Plan. That plan provides insurance for homeowners who can't get private coverage. But private insurance companies will have to bear half the cost and can pass the other half on to homeowners statewide. And as fire claims pour in, this billion-dollar special assessment may not be the only time California homeowners statewide absorb the cost of the LA fires. In Los Angeles, Matt Finn, Fox News.
Meanwhile, flu season is in full force with high disease activity reported throughout most of the country and case numbers on the rise. Fox's Jonathan Seri has more from Atlanta.
We're in the midst of a very, very busy, a serious influenza season.
That might be a bit of an understatement. Public health officials say this is the worst flu season in the U.S. in 15 years. The CDC reports at least 24 million Americans have been infected, resulting in 310,000 hospitalizations and at least 13,000 deaths. Doctors are now urging folks to make sure they're up to date on their seasonal flu vaccinations.
These vaccines are a pretty good match. They are keeping vaccinated people out of the hospital, but you can still get a quote, mild case of flu.
But fewer people are rolling up their sleeves. Only about 45% of American adults got their shot this winter. That leaves millions vulnerable, especially the elderly and those with underlying health conditions.
If a vaccine can help me be here another 10 years, 15 years, do it.
We don't need any more deaths.
Adding to the confusion, a lack of information and guidance following a freeze in external communications from the CDC and NIH. Both agencies now have their websites back online, but health officials around the world are calling for more transparency and more data from government agencies.
We do hope that there will be more uploads to the different websites and through the different portals related to influenza.
The CDC says 43 states reported high or very high flu activity last week. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Conrad is in next with our full 5-day forecast.
Stay with us.
All right, as one system makes its way back into our area on Thursday, get ready. Another one is right behind it. How much snow are we going to get? A little bit of a wintry mix. I'll have all the answers and more coming up.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
It's time to start planning that new home or garage you've been thinking about. Hammond Lumber Company is here to help, offering complete building packages with everything you need. With several options on their website and thousands of unique plans in their in-house drawing catalog, Hammond will help you make your dreams a reality. Choose your materials from Hammond's extensive showroom displays, and Hammond will deliver your order from any of the locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Start planning your new home or garage at Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store. With delicious homemade food made fresh daily, we offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, one of our many savory soups, or a pizza, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after a long workday? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
The other driver totaled my new truck and left me pretty seriously injured. As soon as I spoke with Joe Bornstein's office, I felt protected and safe. I knew calling Joe was the right decision. Joe Bornstein's office took care of everything. I didn't have to worry about it and could just focus on getting better. I'm extremely happy with the result, and I'd recommend Joe Bornstein's office to anyone who's been in an accident. Call and talk to them. It's free. Give them a chance to tell you what they can do for you.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
UCLA takes on Indiana. Can you believe this? Fox College Hoops Friday tips off at 8 Eastern.
And welcome back, my friends. We're looking at a big system that is making its way into our area. Severe weather down south, wherever you see this green, that is rain. Of course, in the center parts, we're seeing a little bit of that rain and snow, and of course, more of a snow event the more north you go. Upstate New York, you're pretty much the bullseye. Same story here in town, mainly just north of Bangor. That's where the next few systems will definitely be eyeing us for sure. Get ready for that. For now, though, we are seeing increasing clouds out there, continuing to see that overnight tonight, and then some snow will be rolling in late overnight, mainly by those early morning hours, really becoming widespread with more of that heavier snow right about there, wherever you see those darker shaded blue colors rolling in after that morning commute, and then really picking up in intensity by those late morning to early afternoon hours. Now, look at this. Surprise, surprise. Pink indicating wintry precipitation in the forecast. Temperatures will continue to rise, and that means more of that snow transitioning and mixing with some rain down right at the coast. Portland, Bar Harbor, for the most part, you will be seeing more of that snow transition into a rain event. Not looking good. We do still have a thick snowpack on the ground, which means very messy conditions in the forecast, and then temperatures will drop, and most of that will begin to refreeze with maybe some flurries on the back end. Finally, things will be cleared up by Friday. All over the state, we are looking at pretty clear skies out there, even some sunshine making a return on Friday. Now, this is what we're looking at for tomorrow into those overnight hours. Generally, 2 to 4 inches of snow here in town as well. The closer you are to the coast, the less snow you're going to get just because of that rain on the back end. You're looking at a solid 4, 5, 6 inches of snow in the yellow here, and then the heaviest snow totals well up in our most northern counties, where 8+ inches of snow is very, very likely, with mainly a snow event, pretty cold temperatures, which means all snow, of course, that dendrite growth zone will be pretty thick as well, and the snow to liquid ratio will be pretty high as well. So that snow will really start to pile up out there, maybe a foot of snow in a few locations. Now, let's talk temperatures. Our average right around 30 degrees for this time of year. Now, for tomorrow, though, we're going to be a little bit above that with that wintry mix. Then we're dropping back down. 21 on Friday, sticking around in the 20s out there pretty much right through the weekend into beginning of next week. Now, Tuesday, even colder temperatures roll in, possibly back in the teens as high temperatures during the day. The winds are pretty light right now. Not much to talk about. We're not looking at any gusty winds out there. Usually right at the coast with systems rolling in, you'd see the winds starting to pick up, and that will be the case, but not quite yet. Overall, though, pretty light winds all over the state, generally around 5 miles per hour. Wind gusts maybe around 10 miles an hour into those overnight hours. Now, it gets interesting as the storm gets closer and closer to our area. By Thursday afternoon, evening, and then into Friday morning. Check this out, right at that morning commute, right around 5, 6, 7 a.m. We are looking at very gusty winds widespread all over the state of Maine. For tonight, though, more and more clouds rolling in, snow showers rolling in late, just a light breeze, temperatures right around 7 degrees, and then rising. For tomorrow, though, 34, which means a wintry mix. We're looking at a mess all over the area. A little bit more of a rain event at the coast. Gusty winds out there out of the east, potentially gusting up to 25 to even 30 miles per hour. Our extended forecast outlook does show great conditions out there for Valentine's Day, and then not quite so great Saturday night into Sunday, as more snow will make its way back into our area.
Alrighty, Conrad, thank you.
Sports is up next with Tyler Cruz.
Hi, Todd from Dorsey Furniture here with a great financing offer on beautiful new furniture. The new introductions are here, new sofas and sectionals from Flex Steel, a new cherry bedroom by Ben and Aaron, as well as a new collection of living rooms by Leather Italia. During the month of February, qualified buyers can enjoy new furniture and take 24 months to pay at 0% interest. On sale pricing plus 24-month interest-free financing makes right now a great time to transform your home. Live well, my friends.
Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage. Doing business the right way, every day.
Need your car fixed? You got somebody. Need your roof repaired? You got somebody. Need electrical work? Here's your somebody. The team at Ideal Energy Solutions is ready to tackle anything electrical in your home. From upgrading your service to handle today's appliances and heat pumps to whole house wiring, Ideal Energy Solutions is your somebody. Contractors for residential and commercial work. Don't settle for less than ideal. Go with Ideal Energy Solutions. Call today.
Come stop by Triple S Tack Shop, 315 Hamden Road, Carmel, for quality clothing and equestrian gear.
Michigan State, Illinois. Saturday at 7:30 Eastern on Fox Primetime Hoops.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. We'll start with some breaking news from recently, just days before their first full team workout of spring training. The Boston Red Sox have come to terms with free agent infielder Alex Bregman. The contract is reportedly for 3 years and $120 million, first reported by Chandler Rome of The Athletic. Moving on to the ice now, longtime rivals Maine and UNH are set to write another chapter in a storied history this weekend as the 5th-ranked Black Bears are set to host the Wildcats at the Alfond. Our Jack Webb has more.
UNH in the Alfond it's special.
It's a rivalry that's seen over 150 meetings, including games at Fenway Park, Hockey East playoffs, national semifinals, and even national championships.
Gustafson wins the game and the national championship.
We go back, we've watched the 99 game with Alfie and net, you know, like how cool is that? We beat him in the national championship, and I think that's what makes the rivalry so special is when you can compete at the highest level in the national championship. So the history goes back so far. Obviously, it's a border battle, and it's so unique. I think it's one of the best ones in college hockey.
The Black Bears have won the last 2 meetings, a 5-0 win in last year's Hockey East playoffs, then a 3-1 win down in Durham in November.
Every year we've played these guys. It's been an absolute battle down at their place or here, whenever it was. And then we played them 5 times last year. So I feel like the rivalry just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So we're really looking forward to this. It's going to be an awesome battle.
Even the new guys understand the magnitude.
Being here for almost a year now, it's just like I know it's a huge deal. So yeah, it's something that's I'm really excited to be a part of this year and hopefully do something with. Even I was at Hannaford's and people were talking about how amazing it is. So I'm pumped that the school is going to get together for that.
New Hampshire currently sits at the bottom of the Hockey East, holding an 11-12-3 overall record. But the Black Bears know records mean nothing in this series.
They're a good team, and like you throw it out the window every time we play these guys, whoever's, you know, what the records are. They're a top 20 team. It's just our league has been really difficult this year. So they've lost a lot of one-goal games, and I'm watching them play BC last weekend, and, you know, they were the better team for long periods of those games. So
puck drops at 7 p.m. on Friday night in the Alfond. From Orono, Jack Webb, ABC7, Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Jack. Should be a great weekend at the Alfond. Let's go to the basketball court now. We kicked off the postseason Tuesday night, and we'll keep it going. Heading over to Dexter for some Class C North action. The 6-seed Tigers hosting the 11th-seeded Sumner. Winner plays Madawaska in the quarterfinals. Picking it up in the second quarter, Trevor Piccarello fires the bounce pass to Cody Kimball, who lays it in for 2. Going to work on the inside. He had to earn it with meat, like Kristaps Porzingis says. Other end, the original shot no good. Logan Crowley puts back his own rebound and takes a whack on the finish to get the and 1. Here comes Dexter. It's Kimball again. Muscles his way into the paint. Finds some space to drop a layup in for 2 points. Puts Dexter up 11. Sumner now. Harrison Richardson finds a wide open William Renwick, who buries the corner 3 to cut into the deficit. Now take a second to watch this ball movement by the Dexter Tigers. Ball touches the floor twice in the entire sequence, and then a third time after Jason Bowden buries the jumper. Dexter wins 53-38. Let's go to the Class B prelims now. 7-seed Old Town Coyotes hosting number 10 Foxcroft Academy. Winner moves on to play number 2 Ellsworth. Second half, Coyotes up. Emmett Byther on the inbounds. The long pass down the court. He hits Jack DeGrassi in stride, takes a bump, but knocks it in. No problem. On the other end, it's Lennon McAfee. Gets into the lane, floats it up, and he knocks this one down. Ponies fighting back. Next possession for Old Town. Byther is going to get it here. He is working in the post, gets around his man, gets to the hole, and knocks it down. And here come the Coyotes again. Jack Braun in the fourth. Can't get it to go, but Byther follows it up, tips it back in. Coyotes win 62-46. Over to Herman now, the number 6 Hawks hosting the Wildcats from Presque Isle, the 11 seed. Hawks up in the second half. That's where we pick it up. Maddox Kinney, the skip pass here. It ends up with Brody Hurd, drives in, stops, pops, and buries the mid-range jumper. Here come those Wildcats now. Cruz Casavant working on 2 defenders, gets some space, pulls up, and he drills the mid-range. Presque Isle on the break now. This is going to be Brent Greenlaw taking a bump, giving one out, and getting the layup to go through contact. But the Hawks, they just had too much on Wednesday. Tyler Corson floats it up at the end of the third to Tanner Stymist, and he gets all the way up there, finishes the alley-oop. Herman wins 49-33. They play Orono. All right, here are some other scores from around the area. Belfast advances to the quarterfinal with a win over Holton. Mount View takes down Fort Fairfield. Those are two 9-8 upsets right there. Wyndham defeats Bangor in the Class AA quarterfinal. And then Winslow takes down Maranacook. They advance to the quarterfinals. 51-43 is that final. All right, and move over winter. MLB spring training is here. Back to the Red Sox now. Pitchers and catchers for teams across Major League Baseball, including the Sox, were required to report on Wednesday. And position players, they started to trickle in to Fenway South in Fort Myers as well, including the Red Sox Big Three. We've been hearing for years about the strength of the Sox farm system, and this season may finally be the year we see them at Fenway Park. 3 of Major League Baseball's top 15 prospects reported to Red Sox spring training this week, including the number 2 prospect in baseball. There he is right there, Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Marcelo Meyer. They are all pumped for their shot to break camp with the big club finally, and manager Alex Cora says everything is on the table with the young kids.
Now we're in a spot that they're here. Like I told them last year, there's no age limit to make the big leagues. You can make it at 20, you can make it at 32. You know, it's up to you.
It's awesome. I think that's the goal. When you get drafted, is to put yourself in this position and as quickly as you can to, get to big league camp and to possibly win a job and help this team as soon as possible.
It feels good. I mean, I've been here for a minute now, but it's been a good opportunity so far, getting to meet everybody, meet a lot of the new players. It's definitely exciting. I feel ready. I feel prepared to take on the spring for sure.
Looking forward to see what they can do. First full squad workout is on Monday. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Tony Hafford from TC Hafford Basement Systems, the all things basement-y company. Basement waterproofing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. Since 1991, over 15,000 Maine homeowners have trusted TC Hafford Basement Systems to fix their basements. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basement-y.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
Dragon Slayer Arcade now has 2 locations inside the Bangor Mall. Dragon Slayer has birthday party packages starting at just $50, which provides you with a designated area for you and your friends, which includes pizza and drinks. Dragon Slayer is all about birthday parties and would love for you to spend your next birthday with us. Give Dragon Slayer a call today to schedule your next birthday party. 860-462-1843.
Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. We are the top source for screen printing, embroidery, branded merchandise, and direct-to-garment printing. With 25 years experience, state-of-the-art equipment, and a commitment to excellence, why trust your apparel products with anyone else? And now, Brandywine Graphics can easily launch online stores for your school or organization. Simply design your products from brands like Eddie Bauer, Carhartt, and more. Share the link and we'll do the rest. Like we said, Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. Find out more at brandywinegraphics.com or at our Hamden location.
You come alive in the dead of winter and start work early on snow days, because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to move, plow, blow, and thrive in the winter. So when the snow falls, you could rise to meet it. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 84 months, plus save up to $300.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
Just in time for Valentine's Day, it seems people are picking pets over partners this Valentine's Day. Data from pet tech brand Pet Libro indicates 85% of those surveyed plan to do something special for their pets this Friday. Around 60% say their pet is a better listener and more emotionally comforting than their partner. And almost 1 in 2 Gen Zers would cancel their V-Day plans to spend more time with their furry companion. That's not all. Even on Valentine's Day, almost half of those surveyed say their animal gets first dibs on the bed over their partner.
A local robotics team made up of Bangor and Brewer area middle school students recently won the statewide first LEGO Lead competition, and they're hoping to make the journey to compete at the national competition in Houston, Texas, but they need your help to get there. The students were asked to build robots using Lego pieces and then program it to perform a series of tasks. They earned the top spot out of 32 state teams. That was a week ago, and now their eyes are fixed on representing Maine at the national competition in Houston in April. They'll be featuring the same robot as they did at States, but they will be making improvements to the machine, which is a type of fishing device that sorts out unintended catches. They call it the ultimate sorter.
And that smaller marine life will draw in larger predatory fish. Then we have some water geysers here to make sure they survive, and they slowly get pulled up a ramp, and one by one they pass through the artificial intelligence system where they're classified based on their size, color, and shape. And let's say we want to catch salmon. If we caught a salmon and the artificial intelligence recognized that, it would go to the saltwater pool, which will later be processed on board. And let's say we caught a turtle or a dolphin. We don't want those, and so some of them are endangered. We don't want them to get hurt in the process, so they'll return back to the ocean.
The trip will be costly, and most of the funds must be provided by the families themselves. With all the students, 3 coaches, and of course parents and chaperones, the costs of the 4-day trip are high. So they have started a GoFundMe, and we'll have a link to that in this story on our website, foxbangor.com.
Well, this Saturday, the sun will set on a Belfast community staple. All About Games is a store known for selling more than traditional board games, and it will be closing its doors as its longtime owners set forth on a new chapter in their lives. Our Doug Banks gives us a last look.
For nearly 30 years, Imagination has had its compass set on 78 Main Street in Belfast.
There's nothing more magical than the words, "Do you want to play a game?" And you're included when you say yes.
All About Games sold a world of possibilities that could fit on a kitchen table.
The real joy of selling games is not when the cash register rings. It is matching the perfect game to the person, and has kept us in business and alive and excited about this business for all these many years.
Last year, co-owners Patricia and Ray Estabrook came down with COVID.
It was a warning shot to catch COVID.
Realizing their energy needed to go towards their family and their future, the Estabrooks announced in January that the store will close its doors on Saturday, February 15th.
We've done everything we're supposed to have done, and we've done it, I think, right. And so we're proud of that.
Despite one of Belfast's oldest stores closing its doors, it isn't game over for All About Games. Because they never sold games, they sold memories.
Those games bring out the kinds of things that people want to remember. The time with family, the time with friends, the time of happiness and laughter.
Being able to bring the games into their lives is very fulfilling. The friendships I've made, the great plays I've seen people do, and really remembering this as the great experience that it was.
We'll miss them all very much.
In Belfast, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Alrighty, well that is going to do it for us, folks. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, we hope you have a great rest of your night and a safe morning commute tomorrow.
We'll see you later.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC7, right now for ABC7 News at 11.
Love is in the air, and ABC7 and Fox 22 want you to share in the love with a special Valentine's Day promotion. Register to win prize.
Jimmy's got Edward Norton, Chris DiStefano, and music from MJ Lenderman.
This is ABC7 News at 11.
One man is dead after a fire broke out